Welcome to Real Talk with Real Estate Pros, where we bring you exclusive interviews with the real estate experts. We'll delve deep into their journey to success and learn how to go the extra mile to serve their clients' wants and needs. Let's dive in. Here's your host, John Money McKinley.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Real Estate Pros. Oh, I got to let this go for just a second longer. My producer, Zach, in the back there is definitely grabbing some good old school rock and roll / metal. What is that, Zach? Is that a little Sun Red Sun? Yes. All righty. Well, I know y'all didn't tune in for a rock and roll heavy metal lesson, but thank you all very much for being here. As you know, we talk about real estate, mortgages, credit, and all the wonderful things that have been happening in this world today. And it has definitely been very, very crazy over the past 2 weeks. And we're really going to dive into a couple things that everybody needs to understand and know now about why mortgage rates have really moved up over the last few weeks and what you can do about it, along with your credit profile, and to really get you in a position to where you'll be in a strong position when it comes time for you to make a move, whether it's refinancing or whether it's buying your home. And with that said, I've got my guest who I like to bring on at least once a month, Mr. Greg West, and he is here to help us understand what affects the credit score itself and what buyers can do to improve their credit scores. Mr. West, as always, it is a pleasure having you on here. How are you on this fine morning, sir?
Great. Looking forward for this long weekend.
Yes, that's right. It is the long weekend. I hope everybody is going to be safe, have a good time, and go out there and enjoy the, as it's called, the first holiday or the first start of the official start of summer, if I'm correct.
Probably so. I know it was the kids' last day of school today, so.
Oh, yes, and that is what I have heard here too, where I'm at. So last day of school. But with that said, let us start diving into what's going on, because I know people normally don't sit around their house and go, honey, let's see what the mortgage rates are doing today, and paying attention to the market. That's why you have a show like mine, where we're here to give you that great information. And if I could ask you all to do us a favor, like, subscribe, and share. We're really trying to make this a place where you can come and find out what's happening in the world of real estate, what's happening in the world of mortgages and credit with real experts, not some people you see on the TV and talking heads that are basically actors, real people who are out in the field every day. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at this article here. This is from the Mortgage News Daily, and this is from May 19th of 2026. And it's talking about the mortgage rates jump up again, now up 0.75% since the start of the war. It's another rough day for the bond market and thus for interest rates. Investors aggressively sold bonds in the first 2 hours of trading, taking the 10-year Treasury yields to the highest level in more than a year. And here's a very, very good picture I would like people to take a look at, and you can see at where we've moved with the mortgage rates over the past. I mean, this goes all the way back to the 80s. And we see back here in the 80s, they were just a wee bit higher back then, above 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12% back during that time. But we've started touching back in the mid to high sixes in some cases. And is this going to change anytime soon? I'm not seeing a lot. I mean, this war really seems to have had quite an effect. What are your thoughts on this, Greg?
I'm a little more optimistic. I think we talked about. I don't think we talked about it on here, but I think I talked to you last year. That I said it's going to be a rough year, but I think by the end of the year, all this stuff's going to settle out, and they're going to have to start doing some things to get things going again. And I think probably towards the end of the year, I think things will start turning around. I don't know what that means for rates, but I'm just talking economy and owning assets in general. But yeah, here in the short term, not so much probably.
And here's another one that I'd like to show, and this is from CNBC. And this really gives us a good look at what's going on. We can look back here at the beginning of 2026, and what we're looking at here is this is the 10-year Treasury. And if you want to get a better idea on what's happening in the world of mortgages, you want to take a look at the 10-year Treasury. When that's moving up, typically the mortgage rates are moving up. And if we look right here, this is right before the war started. It was looking beautiful. Everybody was happy. We were getting ready to get into the springtime. Home buying season was kicking off. Realtors were excited. Mortgage people were excited. Home buyers were excited, especially when they found out how attractive rates were. And then the war kicked off, and you can see how dramatically this has moved through March, through April. We saw a little downtick here, but now that we're getting towards the end of May, we have shot all the way up a little over 4.6 just recently. And right now, if we take a look, we can see, no, that's the Fed. No, I had the 10-year Treasury. I will pull that up more as we dig further into the show. I apologize. I thought I had that window open that I could look at the real time on what's happening with that.
That's what you get for live shows.
I know. Hey, this is a live show. I want everybody to know sometimes mistakes do happen. Greg and I do not sit around and record this. And no, contrary to popular belief, this is not AI and the hair is real. Just want everybody to know that. All righty, Greg. Well, now that we've really dug into what's happening with the mortgage rates and what we're seeing, and when hopefully we might start seeing some relief on what's going on with them, let's talk about something that people have control over, and that's the credit. You have 3 credit scores. Most people know that: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And there's a lot of questions that people have, and that's usually one of the biggest questions that I get is, well, I'm looking at my credit score, John, and it's telling me this. Why is yours telling me something completely different? And I just want to touch on this briefly, Greg, is most people are not aware that there are several different scoring models. Are there not, Greg?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch. And it's almost like they make the stuff confusing on purpose. I mean, in most cases, from what I've seen, when you get a free FICO score, it's usually the FICO 8, which is used with a lot of credit cards and vehicles. And again, you got to take into account whether it's an Experian, a TransUnion, or an Equifax pull. So those 3 scores alone will be different. And then you have this other scoring model floating around through Credit Karma is one of the ones that peddles it the most, but called Vantage Score. I won't delve into how that started, but basically credit agencies decided to get together and start their own deal. The FICO models are from an engineering company in the 70s. Won't get into that either. But with the Vantage score, it's a different percentage-wise. So your score can be anywhere from 50 to 100 points different than the FICO. So I always tell people you got to pay attention to 2 things because there'll be a little asterisk usually. What credit agency they're pulling and if you're getting a Vantage or a FICO. And then to make it worse, when they apply for a mortgage with you guys, they usually pull, a FICO 10 or 10T?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which you can't even get access to. Us plebes don't have access to that information. So you really won't know what your true mortgage pull score will be until you actually apply. You can just get a rough estimate with that FICO 8.
Exactly. And I appreciate you saying that, and I tell that to people all the time. I said it is almost like they created this model that's a consumer model. It's a consumer score. It literally means nothing to the lenders, to us on the lending side.
Yeah.
And typically it's higher. And like you said, it gives them an idea of where they're at. However, we don't use that. And that's why it's so important that when you're working with someone, especially on the mortgage side, you want to make sure you take the time to be able to sit down with someone who's going to take the time to show you what's going on, show you your credit report, and explain to you and show you the facts and numbers. Because there's so many folks out there now, they just don't have a clue. And there's so many people out there. We really seem to have moved to this automated system with everything. Go to the website, go to the automated system, and it's taken so much of the human touch out of the process and left a lot of people in the dark with things. And that's why I'm glad you come on here once a month with us, Greg, and really help to explain things like credit score to my audience and just give them a better understanding, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of different factors that determine what your rate is going to be. But one of the main determining factors is your credit score. And the higher your credit score is, the better rate that we can offer you. Contrary to popular belief, us mortgage loan originators, at least not me, nor any other mortgage originator I work with, wants to give you a higher interest rate. The lower interest rate we can give you, the better. It's better for us. It's better for you. It makes you happier. Makes us happier. But let's take a look here and really kind of dig more into this is from my FICO, and people can easily look that up online. And this really starts, and if you want to get into this, if you get into this for us, Greg, really start breaking down a little bit on what really has a heavy effect on your credit scoring.
Well, obviously, the two biggest things are with the percentages, 30 and 35%, your payment history and your amounts owed, which primarily that amounts owed is credit card utilization. But the payment history has to do with late payments or charge offs. So if you pay your bills on time, that's good. That's 35% of the score. But what burns a lot of people is, say they get a lot of credit cards, they run them up, they still pay them on time, which is great. But it's that 30% part that starts affecting them. Just to keep, yeah.
We're talking
And
about
then,
this up. Oh, oops, let me.
yeah, the red line.
Yeah, the red line. There we go.
That's most of that is, I mean, some of that has to do with like having a new car loan, how long you paid on. But majority of that has to do with credit card debt. So if you have $1,000 limit, the closer you get to 1,000, the bigger punishment you're going to take. And that includes when you hit $100, believe it or not, which I'm going to prove here later on, which is something I've always said.
Yeah, we've really got something Greg shared with me a couple weeks ago, and I said we need to show this on the show. And Greg is going to show you a specific example of just how much the amount owed has an effect, and I'll attest to that more as well when we get into that part of it as well, and just how much of a difference it has and what it can truly do to put you in a much better position when it comes to the lending side. Because I'll say it again, it is the credit score that really determines what your rate is and what your loan options are.
That you can have delinquent credit on there. It's the score, 100%.
Exactly. And so the big takeaway on this is paying everything on time is huge, but your balances is really the second. I'd almost call it basically 1.5 right behind it. It's such a close number. You've got 35% on your payment history and then 30% on the amount owed. So that's, in my opinion, that's not even really second place. That's like in 1.5 place behind it.
Yeah, it's the two biggest things. And then I'll mention it real quick, but the credit cards themselves have to do a little bit with that mixed credit line as well. If you have a decent number of installment loans, you need to have decent number of revolving, kind of even things out. So credit cards are realistically, credit cards are nearly over half the score. But you got to utilize them correctly with everything they put in there, because length of credit history is important too. Like say you bought a couple cars, you establish your credit,
Mm-hmm.
put them on 5-year notes. 5 years comes up, you pay them off, and then now I have no credit again because you never did open a credit card that stayed open to keep your length of history long. So they're important.
Now, here's something I want to touch on is the 10% part, the new credit part. And this is something that I can't stress enough to people. These
Yeah.
Affirm accounts.
Yes.
These,
Affirm and Klarna are the two big ones.
uh-huh. Look, and I know it's wonderful when you're looking at buying something and go, oh, look, I can get this and there's no interest. Read the fried print to determine what you're going to be paying for this in terms of interest. But people see it. Oh, I can pay this off in 4 easy installment payments instead of paying it all cash, which is fine. It used to not show up on your credit. Well, guess what it's doing now? It's showing up on your credit report. So you have, if you're using these, you're getting hit with multiple new accounts along with short-term usage accounts, which guess what? That's going to pull your score down. That's going to make you look at more of a credit risk because us, the lenders, are going to look at it and go, why is this person getting all these little short-term loans? Are they having a financial struggle?
Yeah. And that length of credit history is 15% of the score. That's part of what I was talking about. So you have a 3-4 month note closed, open another one, and it affects it every time.
That's literally.
I'm coming across credit reports with 20, 30, 40 of these things on there.
Yeah. If you combine the two, length of history along with, and let's pull that back up here, if you combine these two, length of history along with new credit, that's 25% of your score.
The new credit has a lot to do with the inquiries. That's mainly what that concerns, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you take these little Affirm accounts and you start putting 3, 4 of these on there. Now you've got a bunch of new credit. You've also got a short period of time on the length of history, which really, really just causes even a larger issue.
And I will make a note on the biggest, I mentioned the Vantage scores through Credit Karma and whatnot. One reason somebody who has a lot of credit card debt has a much higher Credit Karma score.
Mm-hmm.
The credit card utilization on Credit Karma, the Vantage score is only 20%. It's not 30%. So that's one of the reasons for the big score difference.
Okay. Okay. Well, now I'd like to dive into this. And we talked about the amount owed and just how much that really affects your credit. And I want everyone to understand this doesn't mean you need to be debt-free to buy a home. But if your revolving credit cards are reporting high balances, your score is most likely taking a hit.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to preface this. We did not start out and preface this to begin with. So I apologize, Google bots, YouTube watchers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This is not financial advice, man.
Yeah, this is not financial advice. This is not coming. This is coming to you. My personal opinions, Mr. Greg West personal opinions. I suggest that you get with a financial expert. Greg would suggest, what do you suggest people do, Greg?
Look around at for the expert of what field you're in, what you're trying to find out. Do your own research. I mean, I prefer experience over paper documents, but that's just me.
Basically, what we're saying is please consult with an expert.
Yeah.
This show is for entertainment purposes only and with really good bumper music.
That's right.
All righty. Well, let's pull up here, Greg. I want to show this. This is someone's credit score here. And why don't you give us a little explanation about this credit score for us, please?
All right. Someone I personally know, so that's why I wanted to. I've said on here, you can go back and look at video after video. The experts tell you 30% or less on utilization where you need to be. I've always long said it's 10% because I know you for a fact you get smacked because it happened to me about 5 years ago. Well, now I have some proof of it. Now, these screenshots you may recognize. Anybody who uses Discover, you do get a free FICO score. I think it's through TransUnion each month. And this particular month, you can see the 16 accounts, 21 years of credit. They had 2 inquiries, and then that revolving utilization was 23%. That's the credit cards. And of course, it says what's hurting on the arrow there, revolving, is too high. But it's still a 751 score, nothing to be ashamed of. But the next month, voila. That was February to March. Exact same things you can see, but utilization is now 1% because the cards were completely almost paid off. Look at the score difference, 807.
Wait a minute.
That's,
So
that's just from going from underneath 20 and underneath 10, 2 levels.
So we got a 751, which, like Greg said, is a good score. However, just so everyone knows, a 751 credit score is good and will most likely get you a very good interest rate. However, with a 760 score, that most likely will get you a better interest rate. Above a 780 score will most likely get you an even better interest rate. Because if we look at there, that's 751 to 807. That's over a 50-point increase by getting everything down just to 1%. That is massive numbers there.
Yep.
I mean, that is an absolute game changer for people.
It is.
And
I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people carry balances because that 30% is stuck in everybody's head because all the guys on TV tell you that, and it's accurate but not completely.
All right. Well, I would also like to dig into what's going on in the world of homes right now, because we've been seeing a lot of changes happening in the world of real estate. And we're starting to see more foreclosure activity. And it's been creeping up. And you can see here, this is from Irvine, California. Adam, the leading provider of data, AA-powered analytics. What a surprise. And Real Estate Intelligence Solutions today released April 26th U.S. Forecast Market Report, which shows there were a total of 42,433 U.S. properties with foreclosure filings. Yeah, that's just in May.
Yeah, people are struggling, man.
Yep, and if we see here, this definitely affects our audience. Florida, Texas, not so much California. We don't work in California, do we, Greg?
I've had some clients in California, but
okay.
Yeah, that's been a long time though.
Well, Greg does. I'm not licensed in California, so. But Texas, in April 26th, lenders started the foreclosure process. 28,414 U.S. properties, down 6% from previous month, but up 12% from a year ago. So that's something to keep an eye on of what's happening with this. I mean, I want everybody to understand. I'm not saying that we're heading into a foreclosure crash. What I am saying is we're starting to see more inventory, and some of that inventory coming online, because I speak with real estate agents daily, is we're starting to see some homes that are in need of repairs, updating, and TLC. That is going to create a lot of opportunity. You know, we showed here the rates are moving up. We've also shown people how they can increase their credit scores, which can help offset the increasing in rates. But if we're starting to get more inventory and starting to see some more stuff happen, there may come some opportunities for people.
Yeah, I'm not a mortgage fellow, but I would say with more supply I would think the pricing should adjust some.
Well, exactly. And this also creates opportunity because there is a very large opportunity. I'm sure most of my audience has heard of real estate investors who they go in and buy a house at a below market price because it needs work. They're able to fix it and then they turn around and either turn it into a rental or they do what's called flip it. Well, I want everybody to understand you can do that as a homeowner. And it doesn't mean you need to be a real estate investor. It doesn't mean you need to be a contractor. It doesn't mean you even know how to swing a hammer. There's a lot of opportunities that are coming up, and that's why I really want people to understand that if you are thinking about doing something, don't let what's going on with the rates scare you, because you need to know that there's some opportunities coming up to where you may be able to find some good homes in good areas and be able to pick them up at a below market price. And there may be already built-in equity into that home where you can get your dream home makeover. And I want everybody to know I'm going to be talking more about this in the very near future because I put together an incredible program that I'm calling the Dream Home Makeover Program. And we're going to have some more detail coming up in the coming weeks that I think is really going to get the attention of a lot of people and really show them a new way on how to buy a home.
Great.
Well, Greg, with that said, we're coming up to the top of the hour here and the end of the show. Do me a favor. How can people get in contact with you if they want to get a better help and better understanding on what they need to do to get their credit in line so they're able to go ahead and purchase a home?
Two quickest ways is call me, or you can even text 859-625-4546. That's my direct cell. If I don't answer, just leave a message. I'll get back to you. And or you can schedule an appointment at westcreditservices.com.
Perfect. Well, as always, Greg, it is a pleasure having you on here. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience and put you back in the green room, but don't leave, sir. All righty.
Welcome to Real Talk with Real Estate.
I apologize. I'd say it's, once again, this is a live show. Sometimes mistakes happen. I just want everybody to know, if you're thinking about buying, don't just sit around watching rates. Take the time to get your credit reviewed. Get your mortgage plan together. Watch what's going on with the inventory and stay plugged in. That's the reason this show is here, to keep you informed of what's happening so you can make an informed decision if you're thinking about doing something in the world of real estate. But I thank you all. I look forward to seeing you all again, looking at having another live show next week. You all have a fantastic weekend. I'm going to get this out of here. And my man Zach in the back, you got some more good music for us, please.